First of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it. First of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
What's going on YouTube? Nathan back with another video presentation. I do apologize. I had some technical difficulties setting up the banners here. Hope you're all doing well. Yo, Jammer, what's good, bro? Good to see you. Just real quick, I just got to fix this one banner. I don't know why it's messing up. But welcome to episode 9 of the podcast. Hope everybody had a great week. Hope everybody's staying safe. Bring into the video, there's a few things I need to say up front. So in this episode today, we're going to go over a couple things. Week 3 for football. We're already week 3 into the NFL season. Time is going by fast. September is over next week. We got 6-7 games left of baseball. NBA basketball is almost around the corner. College basketball is starting up in a little bit. Let me try to get into college football a little bit more. As baseball, we're kind of starting to wind down. But I know it's going to be kind of intense because the playoffs are not going to go consistently for baseball. We're already finished the first round of the WNBA playoffs. So we'll talk about that tonight. I'm going to talk about the awards. Did to get that right. Also, too, I got to talk about the Carolina versus the Panthers versus the Houston Texans. It was nothing fantastic. Let's just leave it at that. I'm also going to talk about preview for the Baltimore Ravens versus the Detroit Lions and the Washington football team. Preview things that we got to work on. Orioles, they won tonight against the Texas Rangers and Nationals. We lost tonight against the Cincinnati Reds. So it's going to be kind of a smooth, not a fast, but smooth podcast we're going to get through tonight. But let's start off with the Week 3 schedule. So we got a couple of good teams here. We got the Colts versus the Titans, Falcons versus the Giants, Chargers versus the Chiefs, the Bengals versus Pittsburgh, Bears versus the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, the Ravens play the Lions. The New Orleans Saints versus the New England Patriots. The Arizona Cardinals, versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Washington Football Team versus the Buffalo. New York Jets versus the Denver Broncos. The Miami Dolphins against the Las Vegas Raiders. The Seahawks versus the Minnesota Vikings. Tampa Bay versus the Los Angeles Rams. That's going to be game of the week, in my opinion. And then we got the Green Bay Packers versus the 49ers Sunday night. And then we got the Monday Night Football game. It's a divisional game. The Eagles versus the Cowboys. So I think it's going to be a good week. A good week for sure. I do expect the New Orleans Saints to have a bounce back game after that performance last week. The Miami Dolphins, I do expect them to play a little better. Tula's not going to play because of his rib injuries. He might be out a little bit longer. I see the New York Giants beating the Atlanta Falcons because the Falcons, they got shellacked against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, but it's Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Now, this Colts versus Titans game should be a good one. I feel bad for the quarterback they had in there. I can't think of his name. He was just thrown into the fire after Carson Wentz went down with that injury. The Bears versus the Browns, that should be a good matchup for sure to see. The Bengals versus the Steelers. That actually could be an interesting game to watch, for sure. What else I'm looking at? The Denver Broncos. I believe Zach Wilson will have a bounce back game against Teddy Bridgewater, but Teddy Bridgewater just has to be Teddy. And I think the Broncos will be okay. But the big games obviously is Tampa Bay versus the Los Angeles Rams, and then the Green Bay Packers versus the San Francisco 49ers. So, great Week 3 schedule. I cannot wait. But I want to transition into the Ravens versus the Lions. A couple of things that are already kind of some red flags for Baltimore. We have some guys that are on the restricted COVID list. And then on top of that, some guys may not also play as well. So Jalen Ferguson, Brandon Williams, Justin Mabduke, and Justin Houston, all on the reserve COVID-19 list. Jalen Ferguson tested positive for the virus today. Unfortunately, we don't know. Hold that band. No. Once again, that's just ignorant. People, this podcast is not for that. So y'all take away from this is not. I'm just going to get banned. I have no patience for it. Exactly. It's uncalled for. That's not right. That's not cool. Not cool at all. Where was I? Give me 1 second as I pull up the list. Okay, excuse me, I apologize. So that's happened. So we only have 3 healthy linebackers: Adafia Olwe, Tyus Boiser, and then Kalis Campbell, Justin Ellis, and Broderick Washington. Derek Wilson not going to play, and Pernell McPhee and Dylan Hayes are questionable. The only guys I can think that are left on the practice squad is Chris Smith and Khalid McKenzie. Ronnie Stanley's not going to play Sunday, and Lamar Jackson's questionable. So I don't know. Not really comfortable with going into a game after to me a big win Sunday. Now you're down 4 guys to COVID, and on top of that, you've got a boatload of injuries. So if you're the Lions, you're going to take advantage of that. But last time the Ravens have rushed for at least 200 yards since Lamar Jackson became the starting quarterback in 2018. We tallied 251 yards against Kansas City, and we're now, fun fact, this is my notes here, we're 29-3 in the Harbaugh era when we post 200 yards or more. We're averaging 31.5 points per game. That's 4th best, and we're ranked number 1 with rushing. We're going to have to keep the Lions balanced with a mix of plays. Now, the only issue is that Lamar may not play. And we see what Lamar Jackson can do as a complete football player. Arm with his running out with his arms and legs. The Detroit Lions have allowed 382 yards, and they're second to dead last and allowing 38 points. We're gonna have to we can try to exploit that weakness. The defense for the Ravens, I'm a little concerned because we allowed now 448 yards, and 34 points. Jared Goff has thrown for 584 yards with 5 touchdowns and 2 picks. Now, his best 2 targets are T.J. Hawkinson and DeAndre Swift. Jared Goff's not a mobile quarterback. Again, our run defense has been really strong so far these first 2 games. We only allowed just 72 yards, excuse me. And again, Jamal Williams, he's averaging 79 yards the first 2 games because I think that the defenses he's gone up against are very unmatched. So, I mean, when I'm looking at the Ravens have adapted to the injuries. And again, we're coming off a big win. But I'm not comfortable with the fact that we're down 4 key defensive players due to 1 testing positive for COVID. And that puts a damper on things. And again, I just send my thoughts and prayers to Jalen Ferguson. I hope he's doing well and, different things like that. But these are the kind of things. This is not just with the Ravens, but across the NFL. This was my fear. As the season progressed, things like this occur. So I'm going to go with the Ravens. I'm confident. I just don't know if Lamar's going to play. 28-17 final score. Washington football team. Let me give a quick shout out to Sean Spencer and the crew for allowing me to be on their show the other night. I apologize if I couldn't stay on, but It was a great show. I liked it. We talked about the recap from the against the ugly win against the Giants. I didn't get an opportunity to talk about the keys to winning the game against Buffalo, to beating Buffalo, and I feel like this is a good opportunity to do that now. So when I look at Washington, a couple of things I've touched on in the last couple of videos. They lack continuity, their defense. We did not blitz as much as Mr. Moore support. Shout out to Anton said. We have to be better at running the football. The fact that we did not run the ball at all in the second half of that game and relied on Taylor Heineke's, excuse me. I don't know why I say Tyler, I apologize. Taylor Heineke's arm to win us that game. That's ridiculous. That should not happen. When I look at that possession where New York had an opportunity to score, there's 2 minutes on the clock. Why are you throwing the football? And on top of it, you threw an interception. That's what made it worse. You know, the one thing I'm going to look for in this matchup, okay, Scott Turner, who come off an excellent game where I feel like the rhythm for the offense was good. Terry McLaurin definitely had one of his best games. But Leslie Frazier is to be respected. His players, the defense did exceptionally well against Miami, even though there was some struggles against Pittsburgh. But here's the thing. Pittsburgh only combined had 252 yards. Buffalo last week against Miami damn near looked like no flaws. They forced 3 turnovers, six sacks, and allowed 216 yards. But the biggest issue with the Buffalo Bills was offensively. They missed opportunities to win that game. And that's one thing I'm looking for against Buffalo. So I'm looking to see how Scott Turner and Leslie Frazier battle this thing out. Because, again, there's a couple of things I want you to point out. There's a clip. There's a moment in that first quarter against Miami where Leslie Frazier, he showed 7, sent 5. Those are things Scott Turner should see. Those are things Taylor should see. But the thing is, how are we going? I want to see how Scott Turner is going to utilize his playmakers against that style of defense. Okay. He has to find a way to get McLaurin and maybe Dommy Brown to go up again to attack. Now, also to suggest too that he go up, run the ball a little bit, because they're ranked 7th, but it was Pittsburgh and Miami definitely didn't run the ball enough. Okay. Donnie Brown versus Tre'Davious White. That should be an interesting matchup. I want to see that. I mean, don't get me. Tre'Davious White's a good corner, but the biggest thing is that this is an opportunity for Donnie Brown because he definitely has struggled. He's had that struggle. He's had some issues in press man coverage against the Chargers that first weekend. Those are the things I'm looking to see how he can fix. Washington's offensive line, Washington's defensive line versus Buffalo's offensive line. Now, if you think about it, Washington has to get to the ball, has to get to Josh Allen. That's the key. That's that's the key to winning the battle on defense. Is getting to Josh Allen, getting pressure on the ball. The only thing my concern is Josh Allen is really good against the blitz. Washington has to figure out what they're going to do to contain him in that pocket because he's a good pocket passer. So I'm really curious to see how that defensive line is going to look Sunday against that offensive line. Okay, but I'm going to go with – it's going to be a good game. I'm going to go along the lines of 30-27 Washington. Okay. Now, there's no really injuries to really say. Matt Lloyd-itis is questionable. Antonio Gibson is going to play with his shoulder. Micah Hyde's going to play with a neck injury. Gabrielle Davis, ankle. Star Leituli with a groin injury. And F. Oda with a calf injury. Those guys are going to play. So, should be interesting. But that's really the injury report going into this week, again, for the Washington football team. A couple other things around the NFL with injuries. I know DeAndre Hopkins said he may play. But he didn't practice. He hasn't practiced all week, according to what I read on ESPN. AJ Terrell's in concussion protocol. Hope he's doing well. Sending thoughts and prayers. Russell Gage Jr. ankle. Marquise Brown, he's questionable. He had 113 yards against Kansas City. He's been dealing with an ankle injury. Levi Wallace, knee injury. Andy Dalton is not playing Sunday because when he stepped out of bounds, his left knee kind of jerked, and I really hope it's not an ACL. And it doesn't seem like it's an ACL tear, thank God. But T. Higgins is doubtful against Pittsburgh, shoulder. Amari Cooper may play because he was down for a minute against the Chargers. He caught a pass and got hit in the ribs pretty good, but they say he may play. Tyrell Williams is in concussion protocol, so he's not going to play against us. Tim Patrick for the Broncos is not going to play. Injury. They say he's likely to play, excuse me. Cortland Sutherland was also limited to practice as well. Elgington Jenkins, ankle injury. If he can't play, they're down to their third option as an offensive line. So, because David Bacarteri is out, he's on the physical unable to perform list. He got ACL surgery in January, and then I can't think of the other guy. Yeah, no, Jenkins, that same guy, Jenkins, he suffered an injury against the Lions, but he did finish the game. So um, Carson Wentz, I don't know how you injured both your ankles is beyond me. Um, I will say this: the most alarming thing I looked at, I did look at the stats. He's been sacked 6 times and hit an additional 21 and it's only 2 games in the NFL season. I really, really am beginning to have concerns about Carson Wentz because he just looks. There's just no reason a quarterback should get that hit that many times in only 2 games. So they have Jacob Earson. That was the quarterback that was against Philly. Oh my gosh, that started last week, and then Brett Hundley. So Josh Jacobs may not play. Joey Bosa, Justin Jones, Chris Harris, Darrell Henderson Jr. Tula has fractured ribs. Dalvin Cook has an ankle injury. Damon Harris, Eric McCoy, Evan Ingram, Jamison Crowder. A lot of injuries, and we're only in week 3. Week 3. But real quick, I want to just talk about some other NFL news. Josh Gordon is being reinstated by the NFL. Could play as early as week 4. According to an article I read on ESPN, last time we saw Josh Gordon was in December 2019. He violated the league's policies against performing enhancing drugs. That was his 6th suspension. And since the 2013 season, he's for some form of substance abuse. I want to say he's 30. I just feel like I don't want to step on the soapbox, but this is how I feel. Josh Gordon is a talent was at one point. You know, when he was at Baylor, he had coaches that I feel like really should not have been coaches. They should have put a stop to this substance abuse the moment that they noticed it, but they practically advocate for him to do it while in college. How many chances do you give a person until you say as a league or as whoever and said enough's enough? I think Josh Gordon is a great I respect the fact that he's getting the help that he needs. My issue is I just have a feeling in the back of my neck, back of my head, he's going to get suspended again. And a lot of it, again, I have to say, I'm questioning that as an environment, circle. I don't know who it is. But the fact that I don't know. I don't know about that one. We'll just see. We'll just see. The Saints, 3 coaches are in COVID protocol. Their tight end coach, defensive line coaches, because they all tested positive for COVID. Like, again, this is my fear going into the season. Again, everybody has their stance on it. I'm not telling people what to do. I'm not. I just encourage people to stay safe, do the research, and different things like that. Because I got another topic. It's going to be in basketball, and this is exactly my fear, because it just seems like, again, we're going down coaches and now players, and I don't like that. So I mean, I hope those guys are well. I hope they're the symptoms aren't as severe, and I pray they get well quick and get well soon. I do. Prayers up for them. But I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers for a little bit, because there were some comments that Aaron Rodgers made after his performance against the Saints, and let me just pull the clip up. See, I can show you. I'm trying to find the video, because there were some things that he said that I won't say that bothered me, but this is. Where's that video? Because the things that he said in that video, I think were really, really good. Okay, hold on. Wait a minute. Let me do this one. Work ethic. All right. I can't find the video, but there is an article where, people again, like I said, I apologize if it's a huge pause. I'm really trying to find that video where, he's talking about his work ethic. Okay, I think I found it. Hold on. Now, here is the video. This was on the Max Kellerman interview with Jeremiah Finley. And Jeremiah had some things to say. He definitely has some things to say. So let's take a listen.
Michael, I think a lot of people who hear you and Greg Jennings talking about Aaron Rodgers feel like, man, they're hating, and I imagine that you have your own truth about, as the kids say, right, about like what the relationship is, and you gave him credit for balling, but you're saying, look, this is just the three-dimensional view of the guy. What would you say to fans who hear you talking about him now and have the suspicion, man, Jermichael Finley just has an axe to grind with this guy, and he's waiting to like criticize? Well, how would you respond to fans who think that listening to you?
No, I'm glad you asked that question. But once again, man, I got my paper, I got my bread, I got my money. I'm totally fine over here. My thing is that the guy just is just. I'm not a hater. I'm looking out. Actually, I just want the guys to do their best and play Packer football. And once again, brother-in-law, it doesn't do it. And I think Love is going to be ready for the job here pretty soon. So can't wait to see the youngster play.
Love is going to be ready for the job, but Rodgers, like, to be fair to Aaron Rodgers, just came off arguably his best season. They were in the NFC Championship game. He threw 40 touchdowns. I think it's like negative 10 interceptions, whatever it was. Do you think he fell off that quickly?
Bro, this is the National Football League. Each offseason, you got to work like it's the last season. And I just don't see a work ethic in Aaron Rodgers that I have in previous years. And actually, you can see it right through his helmet. The eyes and the face tells everything of the personality. And I just don't see it, that NFL hunger and just feel hungry to go win another championship. I just think it's cliche and talk that guys get up there and say, oh, I want to win a championship. It sounds good, but I want to see what you do on the field.
Aaron Rodgers has obviously been the talk about what went on in New Orleans. What about the defensive side of the ball, Jermichael? Defensive side of the ball did not live up to the new expectations of defensive coordinator Joe Barry. Where do they go from here on the defensive side?
The defensive side, man, I just don't think they had enough pressure on the quarterback. And I think, I'm going to just tell you, they need to sit King down. Cornerback Kevin King he's got to go. He screwed them guys over at the end of the season last year. And his percentage of guys catching the ball on him are very, very high. And I think they need to go with the little rookie they got in the first round this year.
Okay, they pick on him. They do.
Yeah, they pick on him. So if you, like I said, Keyshawn, if you know you got a weak link in front of you, you
shoot him down. He's a duck. You got to, hey, Jamar,
he's a duck.
He's a duck. You got to shoot him down.
Quarterback saying, give me the ball.
So given what you said now about Rodgers and the Packers, but also given the fact that the entire division just lost, right? What do you think about the North this season? Is there someone there to unseat them?
I don't. I think the NFC North is, man, I think it's soft as CVS cotton right now. It's up in the air. You don't know who's going to win the division. You got the Packers. You got the Lions looking very weak. You got the Bears, which they need to start Fields. So that division is all over the dang on place. So we got to see what this week 2, week 3 talking about and see what these guys want to do.
Jermichael Finley, former Packers tight end, Super Bowl champion.
Interesting. Okay, so these were comments after they lost against the New Orleans Saints. Obviously, you saw the score if you see it, 38-3. I have nothing against Jeremiah Finley. I don't. Jermichael Finley, excuse me. Last time I remember him being relevant was 2012. You know, I don't, and again, I've told you guys this in numerous video after video after video. The media controls and spins the narrative. Everybody, listen, Aaron Rodgers has to take some type of blame for this. He knew, because the way the offseason was, the way he handled the offseason was piss poor. Listen, I understand that you needed some help. I understand that. But I'm looking at your talent. I said, and again, just stay with me, because remember, I'm gonna use this basketball player as an example. When LeBron James was in Cleveland and they were struggling, and LeBron publicly makes comments about the talent that guys they have. Mind you, when they just came off that championship, he said it. LeBron said it, not me. Tristan Thompson has to be taken care of. Kevin Love has to be taken care of. J.R. Smith. They had a lot of money locked into a lot of these guys staying. They didn't have a lot of money to make moves. What I'm saying is, I'm looking at Aaron Rodgers. You got a Devontae Adams. You got Aaron Jones, Adam Lazard. The tight end I can't think Rungan, Valdez Scantling. You can make those guys better. You got Randall Cobb. The thing is, we didn't hold Aaron Rodgers accountable. They were just in the NFC Championship, and they wet the bed collectively. We don't hold, and there's another player, another athlete I'm going to get into later in this video, later in this podcast. We don't hold these guys accountable. What we do is we make excuses as though look at the bigger picture. Aaron Rodgers, you have help. What more did you need? And you came out and you wet the bed. Now, his response to the interview says, quote, "It's absolute BS to give people a platform who have no idea what they're talking about as far as my mental state and my focus, my work habits, and people who are not in my life. I have not had communications with them, not in the locker room. That's just BS. It's ridiculous that people can get a platform to do this." Now, he goes on to say, quote, I'm always going to give a reminder. Let's do the source of some of those things. It's often the same people. I'm in the same tired rhetoric. I just was surprised after week one that there's such a story out there. What was crazy to me is to let one storyline by a person who has no contact with me, zero relationship, become sort of a narrative out there, and that now somehow I don't care about the ball because my Zen attitude during the offseason. That's BS. I was talking about Monday night. The truth and the fact should not be replaced by conjunction, ill-factored conjuncture, when it is, I'm thankful for this opportunity, my press conferences, to be able to say, hey, look, just think about who's saying this. Now, when he said, Jerry Michael Finley, it's the National Football League. Each season, you got to work like it's your last. I just don't see a work ethic in Aaron Rodgers that I have in previous years. What do you mean you don't see a work ethic? So wait, hold on, time out. The guy just won MVP last year. Okay? Yes, unfortunately, they wet the bed against Tampa Bay. I'm aware of that. I get it. But again, see, this is what I've been trying to tell people, and people just look at me like they look at me like I'm crazy, or I don't know what I'm talking about. When you are a top player, basketball, football, baseball, it does not matter. It doesn't. Athletes, they're going to get all the praise, all the criticism, etc. Aaron Rodgers has to understand, you came out and you played out piss poor. Your body language, when you said it's just one game, people look at that and people are going to take that and can create a narrative and go, well, you come out the first week of the season and you just don't care that you got embarrassed. You lost by 35 points. He wasn't talking about people criticizing his game week one. We knew that they were, as a collective unit, terrible. He's talking about people saying that he doesn't care. That's what he's pointing at. Or that he's talking about, let's just give up on the season. He doesn't have the same work ethic and teammates aren't doing it. They don't like him here and there, X, Y, and Z. Again, I've said this about Mar Jackson, and people can disagree with me about this. The media always, with Aaron Rodgers, judge his character without really knowing him. Like, for example, we're getting to the point that they were getting really personal about how he doesn't get along with his family or he doesn't get along with other people. Like, that's none of your damn business. Like, then what's funny, y'all, and everyone's kind of sitting back and going, wow, okay. You didn't think Aaron Rodgers is going to respond to this kind of stuff? Their response was at Jeremichael Finley. But again, I told you, when you criticize guys, you criticize it was between those lines. When we talk about criticizing Aaron Rodgers on a personal, because this is what they've done with Aaron Rodgers, and I told you this. I just said it, and to me, I think that's personal. When you look at an athlete, you criticize and you hold them to a certain standard, just like people hold Lamar Jackson to a certain standard. Aaron Rodgers, listen, you did not have a great game one. We understand that. But it wasn't, I will never question anybody's work ethic. I will never do that. The thing is, the media today is an absolute joke. And that's coming from a mass communications major. The climate in journalism today, I hate to use this word, is toxic. Because these TV personalities, all these talk shows, they think they know every damn thing about sports. Because when we talk about somebody's character, again, like for example, right? Jeremichael Finley talked about Aaron Rodgers' work ethic. Stephen A., for example, for years, was just all on Kwame Brown's ass about this, and that. When you criticize a guy, hey, you know what? You didn't play well in this game. For example, I have been religiously, if you watch my videos with the Mystics, I have been religiously criticizing them about consistency. Never personal. Lamar Jackson, never personal. It's stuff that each individual has to get better at. But to really go to a guy that hasn't played in the NFL for God knows how many years now, he has credibility, but he's coming at it with a biased look. He's looking at the game one and going, wow, Aaron Rodgers just doesn't care about football. He doesn't have a work ethic. Really? Again, my intro.
First of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
It's okay to criticize, but never to the point where we're questioning a guy's work ethic. If he's playing like trash or she's playing like trash or they're playing like trash, yeah, that's going to get called out. But to really sit there and say Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a work ethic, that's very ignorant of Jeremichael Finley. And I love the fact that Aaron Rodgers stood up for himself. But again, not just Jeremichael Finley. There are journalists, sports that obviously try to create narratives, false narratives about anybody just to make their brand look good. Obviously, Jeremichael Finley said it because it makes him look good. But behind closed doors, I guarantee you, someone said, yo, you smoking something. Okay, let me get off that. Gotta talk about the Orioles. Couple things. The Orioles are going to retain Brandon Hyde as the manager for next year. After next year, since he's taken the helm, it's been 3 years. He's 127 and 246. I definitely don't think it's fair to judge him on wins and losses, but when I look at the front office, again, I have said this religiously. Lord knows how many times I've said it. You don't hold these front offices, these owners to account. You don't hold them accountable. But, they haven't put much of put a product out there. Again, I thought it was excuse me. Thought it was ignorant for Dan Duquette the last few months of that season in 2018 to just finally say, "Oh, we're going to just abandon ship. You're going to trade Manny Machado, Zach Britton," and then Dan Duquette was fired after that, and Buck Showalter. Now, Mike Elias, I think it's a good replacement for him. I do, because I see what he's trying to do. Now, I want to point out some of the moves here that have happened under Mike Elias's watch. Dylan Bundy, Michael Gibbons, Alex Cobb has been traded. Freddie Galvez, Jose Iglesias, Nick Kearns, Maikel Franco, Matt Harvey, Wade LeBlanc, Tommy Malone, Felix Hernandez. Iglesias and Galvez are traded before the contracts obviously were given up. And the Franco and Nate Kearns signings didn't pan out at all. Cedric Mullins, congratulations on getting to the 30-30 club tonight against the Texas Rangers. He's definitely a part of this corner of this franchise. He's a piece to build around. Austin Hayes definitely had a productive August, and I like what he's doing in September. Ryan Mountcastle has the most home runs as a rookie, now with 30 home runs in the year so far. John Means, even though injuries, I feel like he's the number one pitcher in our rotation. I just really can't. I can't wait to see what next year looks like when we have guys like Adley Rutchinson and Grayson Rodriguez. But going after that, there's a couple things I need to know. What are you going to do if you're Mike Elias in that front office to get Mike some help? When I'm talking help, I'm not talking getting marquee free agent. I'm talking about getting veterans placeholders, consistency of placeholders. Because some of the guys that we've brought in just left and right have just been embarrassing. It's just been horrible. Tonight we won against the Texas Rangers 3-0. I didn't forget to talk about the Panthers and Texans. I'll save that before I talk about the WNBA. As I stated, Cedric Mullins joined the 30-30 club. He's the first Oriole. Never seen, again, I would like to see that in the midst of a winning season, but he's the first Oriole to ever do that. He reached 30 stolen bases last week against Boston, and he hadn't hit a home run up for like 2 weeks up until tonight. Cedric Mullins, I can't stress enough the year that he's having. He's definitely a rebuilding piece. The only thing is, unfortunately, we lost tonight 8-5. The night before they got shut out by Zach Lowther. Great game. That's probably one of the best games I've seen from Zach Lowther this season. I like the fact that, again, guys are, like I said, Cedric Mullins is definitely a piece there. Mountcastle, Mancini. DJ Stewart, like I said, I'm done with him. Like I said, some of these guys you won't see. And I guess what I'm saying, Mike Elias has some work to do. And I'm not saying get a Trevor Story or something. I'm talking about getting placeholders. It was a good game. Just the Texas Rangers, I think, just came home with a vengeance after getting shut out the night before Thursday night. So, congratulations to Cedric Mullins, for sure, well deserved. The Nationals lost tonight against the Cincinnati Reds. Where do I start? Congratulations to David Bell. He got like a 3-year deal extension as manager. Nothing really, again, with the Nationals that really stood out to me. Like I said, this is a team that's in clear rebuilding mode. I just feel like, okay, there we go. I almost lost y'all there for a second. You know, we had the opportunity to win this game, but Luis Garcia was just the game was in his glove and it just slipped out. Again, like I said, you know, we had a 4-run lead in the first 3 innings, and then after that, just blew up. Paolo Espinal had lasted 5 innings, struck out 2, gave up 3 runs, gave up 5 hits. Sonny Gray that didn't last that long either. He only lasted 4, walked 4, gave up 5 hits, 4 runs with 3 strikeouts. Man, Luis Garcia gave us a 2-run lead, hit a 2-run single in the 9th, and then we tied it up with a double by Lane Thomas, and then that was it. So we play them tomorrow. Like I said, we got 6. We actually have 6 games apiece as well. The Cardinals are looking hot. They won 14 straight. I'm gonna try to get Nicholas Rosario from Let's Talk Football on here to talk about the awards. Wander Franco now I think is on base streaks at 40 games. There's some teams in there that definitely I'm surprised the way they looked, and they're going definitely to the playoffs. The Giants got to 100 wins. The Yankees, I think, are like a game back of the wild card. It's just been a good season, interesting season of baseball for sure. But for these 2 teams, Nationals and the Orioles, good things are coming for both teams for sure. But the Reds definitely. I think they're like a game back of the wild card. Let's look at the standings real quick. There we go. Okay. So obviously, Tampa Bay is the division leader. Then you got the White Sox and the Houston Astros. So the battle for the wild card spot is down to now 5 teams, as the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Cleveland baseball team, the Detroit Tigers, Angels, Royals are all eliminated from the playoffs. That leaves the Blue Jays, who are 7 games back from the wild card, as well as the Seattle Mariners. Oakland's 5 games back. The New York Yankees are 1 game back. And as of today, the San Francisco Giants definitely is the best team. They clinched a playoff berth. with 100 wins. Then there's the Milwaukee Brewers with 92. Then there's the Atlanta Braves, who, looking at their division, 80 wins. Then you have the Dodgers, who are 13 games ahead of the St. Louis Cardinals, who at this point is going to be the that's just it. Those two teams are going to be wild card. Everybody else is. I don't see San Diego even making the playoffs. Cincinnati can get to about 85 wins. Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, no. It's not happening. So, but the worst record as of today is the Baltimore Orioles. We are one game, one more loss than the Arizona Diamondbacks. We both have 49 wins apiece. Very, very, very disgusting. It's even more disgusting when the Pittsburgh Pirates are close to 60 wins and we haven't even touched 50 wins on the year. If we can just get one more win, I will feel okay. Very, very disgusting. But that's your playoff race. But real quick, before I touch and go into the WNBA and then the awards, and that's going to end the podcast. Oh, and then still got some NBA news too, because I want to talk about that. I did catch some of this Thursday night football game. I really wasn't interested. It's between this and watching the WNBA playoff games. The Panthers beat the Houston Texans 24-9. They're now 3-0 in the year. Christian McCaffrey, let me just say this. Christian McCaffrey is always finding his way self getting hurt. It was the DJ Moore show who finished with 126 yards. Sam Darnold threw for over 300 yards. He now has thrown 888 yards. That's the best he's thrown so far in his career. Houston's offense was pretty lethargic. Carolina, for some reason, it took them the second half to capitalize on that. Houston didn't cross midfield to the final drive of the first half, which was very, very disgusting. David Mills was like 4 or 5 and 19 yards to start the game, and that final drive, that front of the first half, he went 5 or 6 for 60 yards. Very, very lethargic. You would think that they would have some momentum in there, but Sam Darnold led the Panthers to win by 15 with a 1-yard touchdown. Mills had a finish with 168 yards, a touchdown. Mark Ingram, 21 yards on 6 carries. J.C. Horn, thoughts and prayers out there. He broke his foot without contact, so I think he might be out for the season. But that, ladies and gentlemen, that game was nothing to sneeze at. It was really hard, lethargic to watch, and I had turned it off by the fourth quarter, so it was really nothing spectacular. Okay, some NBA stuff. So I got to talk about the NBA real quick. So y'all know how I have been a proponent of Ben Simmons. I have said it religiously. I have to give Elliot Tinsley a shout out. He was on my podcast back in season 1. I'm gonna be careful because I really don't understand what is it going to take for everybody to see that Ben Simmons is just not that good of a player. When I mean not that good of a player, the things that his attitude towards constructive criticism. We're not asking Ben Simmons to shine shoes. We're not asking him to do much. All we're simply saying is learn to shoot the ball. That's it. This ain't rocket science. And for people to just kind of come out and go, well, when you clearly seen it, I hate to say it, Ben Simmons is overrated. See, these are these again, the Frankensteins that fans, the media, social media have created. I mean, all this started when, unfortunately, when Doc Rivers was asked, can Ben Simmons be the point guard of a championship team? And for Doc Rivers, good coach, for some odd reason, can't see it's like he's got glue on his eyes. His eyes are closed shut. You can't see the weaknesses of a Ben Simmons. You're practically playing 4-on-5 basketball. For him not to take that shot, that dunk, was absolutely pathetic. Now, Doc Rivers made some comments. He compared the Ben Simmons drama to, quote, talking to people who still believe Trump won the election. Let me play the clip.
Doc, this podcast just looks fantastic. They're so well done. John Meacham's was wonderful, and I'm sure yours will be too, especially with you at the helm. Got to ask you before you go, though. You know I'm a hoops guy. Ben Simmons says he wants out of Philly. Have you talked to him? You going to convince him to stay?
Well, I'm going to try. I mean, there's times that I think we're getting through, and then there's times that I think that I'm talking to people who still believe Trump won the election. So I'm not sure, but I'm going to keep trying. Let me say that.
All right. Well, let's hope you get him back. I know you'd like to take another crack at him and give him another chance in the playoffs. Doc Rivers, thanks so much for being with us. Really.
Wow. There's a lot to. Okay, a couple of things. Let me say it like this. I think he's taking a shot at Rich Paul. I definitely don't think it's the most motivational quote, or encouraging, I should say, about Ben Simmons. He's making it seem that it's either Simmons or somebody in Ben Simmons' camp that seemingly is just being a pain in the ass onto something that is probably a false narrative that's been created. Now, Ben Simmons has made it clear he doesn't want to be in Philadelphia. He wants out. But let me just say this. I had nothing personal against – I'm just not a fan of Rich Paul and that agency, because they bully their guys and going where they want to. You know, Anthony Davis. They had better trades for Boston. I want to say it was New York. And he was like, no, I want to go to Los Angeles and go play with LeBron James. And I can't remember if it was in season 2. But actually, I take it back. It was in season 1, episode 1 of the podcast. I played a clip of Charles Barkley talking about these things. You know, we're not asking too much of these guys. Again, I understand these are player-driven leagues. I really do. But I don't think what we're asking is too much. I really don't. What is hard about telling somebody, shoot the basketball? What's hard about that? Because all them videos you see on Twitter, Instagram, I'm not falling for that. Because last now 5 years, where has that transitioned onto the NBA floor? Please tell me. This is just a note. You know, all the executives out there, the advice is free. You ain't got to pay me. Particularly for Philadelphia. If you have a set, if you have a pair of balls, if you got a set of stones, you have the leverage. Not Rich Paul, not Ben Simmons. You don't want to participate, you don't want to show up to training camp, we're going to find and suspend you. You just won't get paid. We're going to trade you to where we feel is accommodating for the Philadelphia 76ers, not Ben Simmons. That's the type of approach that these GMs need to take with these players. Because it just seems like we're getting guys that are coming in the league and just half-assing. It's not hard. It really isn't hard, people, for a player to tell somebody, shoot the basketball. That's not hard. It's not. What more do you need to tell people? What more do you need to tell them? Now, same thing. Vice versa. Zion Williamson is having some issues with the Pelicans because apparently a lot of it goes with his injuries during his rookie year. And I have to give a couple of shout outs because they talked about Zion, but the injuries and different things like that. They're saying that the relationship between him and David Griffin has begun to sour. You know, Alvin Gentry, you know, they fired him, even though I feel like he shouldn't have been the head coach for the Pelicans in the first place. You know, they didn't give Zion the opportunities that he should have gotten. But a lot of people are saying because of the injuries, you know, here's a quote. Then Alvin Gentry told several people around him, this is going to be great. However, within months, Griffin began to blame Gentry for the Pelicans' poor start. Once on a road trip, Griffin was approached by someone he hadn't spoken to in weeks. Unprompted, Griffin said, I've given Alvin all the answers to the test and he still fails. It's still unclear whether Gentry knew of this exchange. He declined to comment. That Griffin sometimes contradicted his own vision that caused a segment between team employees that arguably disliked him. When the Last Dance documentary aired in April 2020, some staffers began referring to Griffin as Griffin Krause in the group text. Obviously taking a shot at Jerry Krause, who after the 1987 year, where the Bulls won their third straight championship, number 6, where he dismantled the team. I hate to do this, and I hate to say it, but this is starting to feel like Anthony Davis era, where they tried to build around Anthony Davis and failed. I like Tyreek Evans. I like Eric Gordon, Ryan Anderson. The biggest issue was injuries. Okay, stay healthy. Now, I believe his agency is CAA. Now, he's eligible. Zion Williamson is eligible for an extension next season, off season. And he's shown that he's a clear max player. That's what, 181 million over 5 years. Now, granted, the injuries, he could possibly get like what Joel Embiid got, but the Pelicans can give him the most money compared to if he wants to leave, which I don't understand. You would take less money than what the team that you were signed, that you were drafted by, but that's, again, y'all's choice. Pretty much, this is just my scenario, okay? That's what I see it. I believe Zion's going to sign an extension, probably a short one, 2-3 years easily, right? He's going to have a player option, especially when the new TV deals come up, which I know makes the salary cap go up. He actually could be the first player to play on his rookie contract. I think it's I think in like his 5th season, qualifying offer would be like $17.6 million. He could leave New Orleans. But trust and believe, do expect David Griffin's seat to get hot. Please believe, trust and believe that. Because I feel bad for Zion. I'm a fan of him. I am concerned about the injuries. He is worth the money. But you're going to push now another number 1 overall pick out of New Orleans. Makes no damn sense to me. But what else is going on in the NBA? Andrew Wiggins was denied request for religious exemption for the COVID-19 vaccination because in the cities of San Francisco and New York, they are enforcing the vaccine, local vaccine requirements, in New York and San Francisco. So that means the New York Knicks in New York, the Brooklyn Nets, the Jets, Giants, all the New York teams, all the San Francisco teams. Andrew Wiggins, I was the only player that I think that on the Warriors. I could be wrong. They had to get vaccinated. Andrew Wiggins was another one of those staunch and fierce. I'm not getting it. So what he did was he requested a religious exemption from the league, and it got denied. So the NBA reviewed and denied Andrew Wiggins' request for a religious exemption from the San Francisco Department of Health Public Order requiring COVID-19 vaccination for all participants aged 12 and older at large indoor events. Wiggins will not be able to play in Warriors home games until he fulfills the city's vaccination requirements. As of next week, training camp starts. 90% of the NBA is fully vaccinated. But I know, like this morning, Stephen A was talking about trade him. I think that's kind of a push. I think there's 40. How many games? Let's see. How many games will be there this season for the NBA? Are we back at 82? Yeah. So that's 48. 41 home games that he can't play until he's vaccinated. So we will see what happens. But that's what's really going on in the NBA so far. Training camp starts next week. I cannot wait. Unfortunately, the WNBA is slowly but surely coming to an end, sadly. A couple things I will do. I will do a reflection of the WNBA as soon as the WNBA season finals is over. Not talking about the Mystics today. We're talking about round 1 of the WNBA playoffs. It was a really great first round. Definitely excitement all around for me to see. Was really proud to see these teams get in the playoffs. I was critical of a couple of them. Got to start off the Chicago Sky. They defeated the Dallas Wings. couple of things I took away from that game. The Dallas Wings. They are a young team. I look at Enrique Ngubawale, Seitu Sabley, Alicia Gray, Isabel Harrison, Kayla Thornton, Charlie Colliner. They got a bright future ahead. You know, the biggest thing is this court has to have continuity. My issue is going forward. The Dallas Wings has to ask themselves this question: are you okay with this team, with Vicki Johnson as your head coach? Couple things I want to point out in that game. The biggest thing for me was Chicago. Couple things. They did pass the first test, but we need more consistency. When I'm talking about consistency, I'm looking at the fact that in the first half, they jumped to a 20-point lead, then only scored 11 points. Like, oh, okay, what happened? And then in the fourth quarter, clung on to a 3-point lead. Now, I didn't know which Chicago sky would show up, and obviously that fourth quarter definitely showed it. Candace Parker almost had a triple-double. She had 11 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals. I don't know why I said Cooper. I apologize. Kalea Copper, 23 points, 12 of those in the first quarter. She's come to play. Fun fact, she led this guy in scoring the season with 14 points a game. You know, her defense, you can't sneeze at that. She limited them to 36% shooting, the Wings. The Sky shot 45%, but only 19%, that's 412, from three-point range. There are only 4 teams to shoot that poorly, and unfortunately the first to win. I had to look this stat up on my notes here. Her hoop stats. The last team to do that was the Los Angeles Sparks, and they lost to the Connecticut Sun, 59-73. The Dallas Wings also did that in 2017 and lost to the Mystics, and the Indiana Fever shot 19%. The lowest was the Dallas Wings versus the Washington Mystics in 2017. They shot 9.5% from 3. And the Indiana Fever shot 19% from the 3 against the Phoenix Mercury and lost. Wow. So they got to be more consistent at shooting the 3. I think the biggest key to their winning the game was their rebounding, which was 47-35. Dallas definitely struggled to make some easy shots. Marina, again, Dallas has a bright future. Seitu Sabley, I know she's been dealing with an Achilles injury. She played really well. Ogubawale's 5th in league in points with 18. She led Dallas with 22. Sabley came off the bench, had 12. She threw up on the sideline. And then came back. I'm not grossed up by that, but that's toughness. That is. She's been averaging. She averages 25 minutes per game. You can tell the injuries definitely hampered her for sure. Isabel Harrison is coming back off COVID. Had 9 points, 10 rebounds. The Wings Dallas didn't get much from their starters. 2 scored 9 each, and the other 2 didn't score at all. Just disgusting. Again, I'm just not comfortable with the fact that the Dallas Wings, they are a favorite to win the title, but when you go exactly 500, that's just that can't happen. I'm sorry, it really can't happen. So they play I want to say it's the Connecticut. Hold on. We're now in round 2. I don't want to say the wrong thing. But it's the Lynx. It's the Minnesota Lynx versus the Chicago Sky. Next game. This was the game of the night, in my opinion. This was game of the night. Phoenix Mercury beat the New York Liberty. Man. What is this? A couple things. Phoenix, you got away with one. You did. Let's just call it what it is. I definitely think the Phoenix Mercury. Let's just call it what it is, okay? The whole from 6 going down, the fact that the New York Liberty not taking anything away from them, 12-20, we're in the playoffs. That's like a 7-9 team or a 6-10 team going into the wild card. The New York Liberty denied Brittany Griner the ball in the post and knocked down 46% of their threes. Sabrina Ionescu had a double-double, 14 points, 11 assists. A couple things I took away from that was there was a stretch in that fourth quarter where you had 2 teams that looked like they didn't want it. The Liberty held their own. But Sophie Cunningham in the third quarter, the first 3 she hit was waved off because of a foul. And then Sophie came back the next possession, shot a 3 and 1. Then she had another 3 and got a technical for yelling. She was 6 of 7 from 3 with 21 points. She scored 12 points in the third quarter. The Liberty went into halftime 41-37. Now, I'm looking at some other notes here. Skylar Diggins did her job. She had 22 points. But the biggest thing that cannot happen is Brittany Griner should have gotten the ball. At least, like the way what I was seeing, they were not giving her the ball. They weren't aggressive enough. When I mean aggressive, pick and roll, give and go plays. So it just seems like who is your true X factor going into Seattle? I mean, on the perimeter, Phoenix is fine, but if we can't, I mean, you had numerous opportunities. I mean, Phoenix, they're small. I mean, New York, they're small. Babies. Brittany Griner should have gotten that ball. I don't care if I'm getting doubled. At one point, they triple teamed her. I just wasn't understanding the ball movement. It was very stale. I mean, we're not moving without the ball. It just kind of seems like we're just giving at one point Skylar the ball. Then we're giving Kia Nurse the ball. I mean, we're taking bad shots. It's that can't happen against Seattle. That just can't. I mean, I will say, Breonna Turner, has she missed that first free throw? Nerves. Because again, it was 0.4 seconds left. Benigely hit a clutch shot, hit a clutch three. Sydney Wickham, she fouls Breonna Turner. Now, when I look at Phoenix really got lucky. There are a lot of questions with Phoenix. There just is. I like the fact that with 10 seconds left, she didn't shoot. They didn't call a timeout, New York. Now, there's a couple things that really kind of stood out that was really kind of, if you're New York, I question. So there's a couple possessions where Sabrina took some bad shots, especially at the top of the arc, talking about from three. The last play of the game where they're inbounding it, she comes off the ball screen smoothly. But I understand you switch on everything. This is just me. I understand. Again, I know basketball. Don't get me wrong, but I am not comfortable having a center guard a shooter at the top of the key, because whoever was going to get the ball, Brittany Griner was going to be there for sure. Personally, if you ask me, Miss Benigeli should have the ball in her hands. No disrespect to Sabrina. Definitely should have had the ball in her hands. That they're just the Breonna Turner free throws. So Sammy Wickham, she just was a split second late trying to rotate. So I think one of the reasons definitely Phoenix won this game was Brittany Griner. She played well. She had 16 points, 10 rebounds. However, she didn't dominate because she was not getting the ball. She was not getting. I mean, they weren't making it easy for her. I mean, they were not no pick and roll, give and goes. New York defensively was making her work for those points. And I think also too, I think the reason why the game was so close, I'm not making excuses. The Liberty were more comfortable playing that way because the White Mamba, Donna Taurasi, didn't play. Without her shooting and playmaking, you can see the difference. The Phoenix Mercury are they're less dynamic. That's a fact. But Sophie Cunningham definitely she killed that noise for sure. I mean, they made up. I mean, defensively, you got to give New York respect. I mean, now they didn't have the size, but they made up for it with effort and extra. I'm telling you, at one point, I'm being dead ass. They had triple teamed her. But I mean, to the point where she had no choice but to pass the ball. Man, it was a really great game. Really, I mean, again, it was really great playoff basketball. But like I said, the future is still bright for New York. And Dallas, like I said, they are two very young teams. They got a great core. We got New York. You got unanimous rookie of the year, and you got another rookie that made all rookie team. You got a bright future. You really do. We're just there's just things that we're just going to have to just work on and get better at. But these cores with Dallas and New York, they're coming. The Liberty that it was the last playoff appearance it was in 2017. The last time the Dallas Wings made the playoffs was 2018. With Dallas, to me, they just ran out of gas. And their age showed, in my personal opinion. One thing, if anything, you got to keep their heads up. A loss sucks. Don't get me wrong. My high school baseball team, my senior year, we got to the playoffs, and we lost to a school I never even heard of. We got shellacked. It was like 12-0. So, the Wings, I believe, have another lottery pick this year because of a trade with the Sparks. And again, you got in New York Sabrina Ionescu, Benijah Laney, Natasha Howard, Sammy Wickham, Rebecca Allen, all healthy. These teams are going to be something to reckon with. Now, I'm just looking at Dallas. Dallas has some questions there's some questions that have to be asked because, when I look at Charlie, no disrespect, she's a great player. I just don't see what was the issue. It seemed like Vicky was comfortable with her, was experimenting. That can't happen. We're not going in the second round of the playoffs Sunday. So be on the lookout for episode 10 of the podcast. We're going to talk about that. Taurasi's only been limited to 16 games this year. That was another stat. Breonna Stewart has had a foot injury since the 7th of this month. So whoever wins these games, they're going to play Connecticut and Las Vegas. So I think the biggest thing for me, I'm going to talk about the Chicago Minnesota matchup. You have Tennessee versus Louisiana State University. Candace Parker versus Sylvia Follows. That are two of the greatest women in basketball history. The number 1 and number 2 overall pick in 2018. That's one thing I'm looking for in that matchup. The next thing I'm looking at, the biggest thing is turnovers. I looked at a stat, the stats from the WNBA.com, and it was really nice. And I was like, wow, the Sky and the Lynx, they averaged the same amount of turnovers. They both average the same points off turnovers. So, Nathan, what are you saying? Whoever takes care of the ball more, they'll win the game. Now, with Diana Taurasi and Breonna Stewart, respectively, injuries, how is this matchup against Phoenix and Seattle going to look like? Now, the biggest thing, I'm looking at the guards. They got to hit shots. Skylar, Kia Nurse, they got to hit shots. Now, Now, Julie Lloyd versus Skylar Diggins is going to be interesting because they were Team USA as well. Brittany Griner versus Mercedes Russell. That should be an interesting matchup. Again, defensively, because New York just gave Brittany trouble. It should be no problem. But, man, it's going to be a great, great matchup between these two. I'm going to have to give the edge to oh, my gosh. I just don't know what – you just got it with Chicago. I got to give it to Chicago against Minnesota. And I have to give Phoenix over the edge of Seattle. I do. I just feel like everything is in their favor. Now, the Lynx, I don't really see them. They're not underdogs. They're the third seed. But they are a really good team. When Ariel Powers came back on the 21st, she scored in double figures. Now, with Diamond DeShields for Chicago, I don't know which Diamond we're going to get. The Diamond that scored 30 points in the last game of the season finale, or who was 1-8 from Thursday and only had 4 points. Again, offensively for Phoenix, on the perimeter, defensively on the perimeter, Phoenix looks great. Offensively, it starts with the guards. They got to give me some shots. They got to make shots and have to give Brittany Griner the ball. When I mean give her the ball, I'm talking about pick and roll, give and go. And just hitting shots. If Phoenix can do that, Phoenix will win the game. Real quick, there was something else I wanted to point out. Coach Walt Hopkins for the New York Liberty said the referees don't give them respect because they're a young team. There is something that Coach T said in the exit interviews about there were some girls in the locker room that were saying that they're not getting calls. It's one thing. See, the one thing about the playoffs, it's different because it's different if it was the same referee every game. But it's different when you have 20, 25 other referees calling fouls. Every referee is different. A referee may not see that as a foul. But also, you got to earn, I hate to say, but you have to earn some respect with the referees. But but if you're fouling all the time, that means you're just not playing defense the right way. That's just how I feel. We're going to transition. Last topic of the night, and then we're going to end the podcast. And I hope you guys enjoy y'all's weekend, and we'll see y'all on Sunday. But the WNBA Awards have been released. Really quick, I want to just congratulate each and every one of these winners, the ladies on their awards respectively, the hard work and dedication you've put into this season and into your craft as not just as athletes, but as women. What you're doing for the league, outside the league, is very inspiring for girls across the world and different things like that. So congratulations to Jonquel Jones, MVP. It was a no-brainer. Even though she played 100 minutes less than Brittany Griner, just the certain things the production that she was putting up. She didn't play last year, again, as I stated, I mean, what she's doing on offense and defense, you can't sneeze at that. Breonna Stewart was a consideration, was a candidate. Asia Wilson, Sylvia Fallows, Tina Charles, and Brittany Griner. Defensive Player of the Year went to Sylvia Fallows. Sylvia Fallows and Brittany Sykes finished with 2 steals per game and was just 2 blocks away. Sylvia was 2 blocks of Brittany Griner's like 58. Now, Fallows is tied with Jonquel Jones for the most defensive wins, according to Basketball Per Reference. The stat here is their defense has helped Minnesota improve their defense. Has surrendered no more than 101 points per 101 points per possession last season. This can't sneeze at that. Sylvia Fallows is one of the best power forwards. Really, honestly, centers, if you think about it. She can play like a center. But actually, I think she is a center. Nathan, what the hell are you talking about? I look at her more like a power forward. That's just me. But she definitely improved. Like, I know that Cheryl Reeves, excuse me, definitely talked about like the goals, how she would look, and again, her communication level. I know it's a few games watching her communication level is definitely pretty good. Excuse me. So the first defensive team was first team Jonquel Jones, Breonna Turner, Sylvia Fallows, Brittany Sykes, Jasmine Thomas. No, don't disagree with that at all. Fair. Second team, DeWanna Bonner, Breonna Stewart, Brittany Griner, Brianne January, Courtney Vandersloot. I don't disagree with that at all. Good list. I mean, everybody. I mean, we can make a case and say maybe DeWanna Bonner, but should be first team. But I don't disagree with that list at all. Kelsey Plum got 6th Woman of the Year and Comeback Player of the Year. I feel like those 2 awards should be separate. I think Tina Charles should have gotten Comeback Player of the Year. I know with Kelsey, she came off injury, and the votes actually, Dearica Hamby, they were close, and she also edged out Allie Quigley and Isabel Harrison. Last season, she tore her Achilles. Before the season even started, she averaged 14 points per game coming off the bench. 8 times this season, she scored 20 or more points, and she's been effective. She's just been a lightning bolt. This month, she was playing her best basketball. She averaged 21 points, 3 assists, and 1.5 steals per game. And I have to give. I mean, most improved player was no doubt my girl Breonna Jones from the Connecticut Sun. From where she was last year to this year, that's like looking at a different ball player in a good way, not in a bad way, in a good way. She definitely logged more minutes. She played 30 minutes per game, 15 points per game, 7 rebounds, career high 10 times. And her field goal percentage did drop just a little bit, but she was 3rd in field goal percentage with 56%. She ranked the 3rd amongst best across the league in win shares and 8th in PER. That's players who have notched these over 100 minutes, has played at least 100 minutes. So she made her first All-Star team. And like I said, she's got many more awards to go. I see Defensive Player of the Year. I see MVP for sure. Rookie of the Year. I talked about this recently. This was really hard. It was really hard to really find when I mean rookie of the year, not taking anything away from the winner. But when you look at this draft class, if you just said to yourself, you have all I'm talking like the first and this draft class, and you just looked at them, you would say arguably, okay, talent wise, yeah, you got some talent from these respective schools. I mean, like, they all can play. But I mean, nobody stood out. When I mean stood out, I mean the fact that Michelle Onyenwere was unanimous rookie of the year. Well deserved. But I mean, my Lord, nobody really stood out. That's how, I mean, Jasmine Walker was out for the season due to injury. But I mean, Shiley Hill was cut after 4 games with the Sky. Stephanie Watts was cut. Aaliyah Wilson, injuries. Renea Davis, I think is injuries. Kaiser Geinderzik is on a personal leave. I mean, the first 2 picks by Dallas, Charlie and Owak. Ari McDonald probably was a close second. And then D.D. Richards, Dana Evans, I have to give her some respect too. Now, Michelle, Ari, Charlie, Dee, Dana Evans were first rookie, all-rookie team. But as far as a second rookie team, no. I mean, that's how disappointing this draft class was. I mean, besides Dejanay Carrington, Ariella, Grantes, Destiny Slocum. I mean, just overall across the board, it was really hard to really say who was a rookie of the year. I'm not taking anything away from Michelle because she's played her ass off, but it was really just her and then D.D. Richards and then everybody else. It was like, it was really hard. I'm not trying to be funny. It was really, really hard to make a case for rookie of the year. And again, also too, all rookie team. Kurt Miller, just congratulations, there's no doubt. Cheryl Reeves was right behind him for my MVP list. But again, what he's been able to do with Alyssa Thomas as his franchise piece and to get this team to where it should be, they are a defensive juggernaut. The all NBA teams, this was pretty good too. I agree with this list. So the first list, obviously, Jonquel Jones, Breonna Stewart, Sylvia Follows, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Courtney Vandersloot. Second team, Asia Wilson, Nafisa Collier, Tina Charles, Jewel Lloyd, and Arike Gugawale. And we had a third team. I'd put Benajelin on that third team. Courtney Williams for the Atlanta Dream. That's hard. I got to think about that some more. But that's the awards for all first and all second WNBA. There should be a third one just like the NBA, but well deserved. It was truly well deserved. for these girls. But man, the rookie awards, that was, oh my gosh. I'm not taking shots at any of these girls. I'm not. Don't misconstrue my words. But it was really, really hard to do that. It was really hard to really, when I look back at that class and look at individually their stats, like wow. So, with that being said, that's going to end episode 9 of the podcast. Y'all let me know your thoughts, what y'all thought on the video. Episode 10 will go out Sunday evening at best. Again, I just want to continue this comment. The comments, any ignorant, goofy comments, they will be blocked. The comment will be deleted, and the channel will be blocked. You'll also be reported because, again, this podcast is all about positivity. I have no time for trolls. You're not going to get you're not going to get that kind of attention from me. Again, I appreciate the support that I have been getting on the channel. We're on the road to 100 subscribers. I would never think season 3 of a podcast would get this far. I just have to thank each and every one of you. I have to thank God, obviously, put God first, and giving me this platform to do what I like to do. I like to talk sports. I like to have conversation, spread positivity amongst folks, and not deal with internet trolls. But y'all let me know your thoughts on the episode. Give me some more suggestions. Leave them in the comments below. If you want to see more like this, hit that thumbs up. Consider hitting the subscribe button. Notification bell is on. But with that being said, y'all enjoy y'all weekend. Stay safe. Stay warm because it's starting to get cool. But just enjoy y'all weekend. I'll see y'all Sunday. Peace. Stay up.
First of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call them out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.